Hey, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2 or PF2. I love PF2. This system is great, and there's so many interesting things about it. I've played a lot of game systems, and there is so much versatility and creative ideas in Pathfinder. I'm grateful to the Paizo gods. So I'm going over the Eldritch Researcher today because you wanted me to go over weird archetypes. Here's another one. It's definitely weird. It's sort of the epitome of weird, like it's supposed to be weird. I have complaints that it's not weird enough. I'll get to those in a minute. So this is obviously in Pathfinder number 164, Hands of the Devil, page 76, but I don't have that book, so we're just going directly from Archives of Nethys because it's the greatest website imaginable. The link is in the description. So I'm going to read a lot of this, but people that don't know the archetype need to understand how it works in detail and the origins of it, the lore. So I'm going to read the lore first. It is actually fairly brief. Eldritch Researcher. An eager student of occult lore, you enjoy reading rare or forgotten tomes with ancient rituals and hidden secrets. You connect disparate facts to unlock deeper mysteries and uncover the truths of the universe, and you zealously hoard the knowledge your painstaking research produces. Aberrations fascinate you for many reasons, not the least of which is because their anatomy is wholly alien, and yet, to the insightful, eminently sensible. You've been particularly enlightened by the accumulated lore in Thresholds of Truth, which is from this adventure. It's just a book. And you know Zarmovdian was a kindred soul in occult research. With this book in hand, you feel like you stand at the doorway to unprecedented occult discoveries. You scoff at those fools who claim you meddle in things mortals aren't meant to know, for isn't it the duty of the enlightened to gather the universe's deepest truths? You need to read some Lovecraft, man. That's not always the best idea. So this says uncommon. If you have met Zarmovdian and accessed the spellbook Thresholds of Truth, then it's not uncommon anymore and you can take it. That's why you need gem approval. So something interesting is this book, Thresholds of Truth, is actually a spellbook. It has a bunch of spells in it. Some of them are really fun. I'm pretty sure they're all occult, because that's what this archetype is all about. So, Eldritch Researcher dedication. Prerequisites: trained in Arcana and Occultism. You gain the ability to cast a single arcane or occult cantrip of your choice, which is heightened to a spell level, blah, blah, blah. It's a cantrip. If you weren't already, you become trained in that tradition's spell DCs and spell attack rolls with intelligence as your spellcasting ability. It's interesting that you don't get to choose. It can't be charisma, which doesn't make sense to me because thaumaturges and sorcerers and those who deal with occult principles have to have high charisma because it's willpower. It's how they keep their mind. I think this should be intelligence or charisma. Regardless of whether you choose an arcane or occult cantrip, you also become an expert in your choice of either arcana or occultism. You also gain a +1 circumstance bonus to checks you attempt with the chosen skill when investigating or identifying magic. Cool. Minor benefit, but it's a benefit. The cantrip is nice, because this doesn't require that you have any spellcasting ability to start with. It just requires that you be curious. Cool. Level 4 feat, Seeker of Truths. Your devotion to discovering and hoarding abstruse truths, which is freaking hard to say, borders on the fanatical, and you can bring this devotion to bear. You gain the Cleric's Domain Initiate feat, but must select Knowledge, Secrecy, or Truth as your domain. You cast that domain's domain spell as a focus spell of the same tradition as your cantrip from Eldritch Researcher dedication, and you refocus by contemplating abstruse mysteries rather than praying to a god. When an ability would manifest a divine symbol, such as the Word of Truth focus spell, it instead manifests as a strange shape unique to you that seems to defy geometry. Because this is Lovecraftian. Special, you can take this feat up to 3 times, selecting a different domain each time. Here's my first complaint. These 3 domains. Let's look at them briefly. The Truth domain. The domain spell, Word of Truth, which just gives you a bonus to diplomacy checks for up to the next minute if you sustain it, and it shows a symbol that lights up when you think you're telling the truth. This is shit. This is a focus spell that is shit. Why? Take this. Just no. It's not worth this. Stupid. Did I miss something here? It creates giant glowing glyph, so it's obvious you're using magic to convince people, which to me says that you should have a lower diplomacy because you're trying to convince them and you're showing them that I don't like it. It's dumb. So that is one of the three options, and it's stupid. So let's look at the secrecy domain. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say, huh? Yeah, you do. All right. Domain spell, Whispering Quiet. It's complicated, so I have to read it. Sorry. You suppress sound in an area, preventing anyone from giving away valuable secrets. This doesn't prevent those in the area from talking or casting a spell, but no creature more than 5 feet away can hear its voice without succeeding at a perception check against your spell DC, which might interfere with auditory or linguistic effects as well as communication. Other sounds created in the area are muffled to a similar volume unless that sound is created by an effect with a sonic trait. It's a 15-foot burst within 60 feet for 1 minute. You might think this could be useful for, like, keeping a large force of, like, of soldiers quiet. Well, it's only 15-foot burst, so there's a limit to that. And the silence spell does that if they're willing. So, like, how much does that help? It doesn't keep them freaking talking or casting a spell. Yeah, it might create some, like, discord or confusion if monsters, per se, are trying to communicate their plans to each other, which monsters always do, in every situation. I'm not saying this spell's useless, but it's not powerful enough to be a focus spell. It's not useful enough to be a focus spell. And this is another one of your 3 possible options? No, secrecy shit. Let's look at knowledge. Yeah, okay. Domain spell, Scholarly Recollection. It's a reaction. Trigger, you attempt a perception check to seek, or you attempt a skill check to recall knowledge with a skill you're trained in. Speaking a short prayer as you gather your thoughts, you're blessed to find yourself pointed in the right direction. The GM rolls the triggering check twice and uses the better result. Okay. It's not bad. It's not always useful, but it's more frequently useful than the rest of them. So I think that this archetype proposes to give you 3 options, which really is just Scholarly Recollection, because the other 2 are shit for a focus spell. That's not options, man. You know what's options? Options! So let's look at some other options. Abomination. Why not the Abomination domain? It perfectly fits this Lovecraftian vibe. What other kind of archetype is going to use abstruse so many times? It's all about learning deep, hard to understand, mysterious, esoteric lore and dealing with aberrations from other universes. Abomination is perfect. And Abomination is a bullshit fucked up spell. It's a great focus spell. Or even Ambition or Delirium. These also make sense. For trying to study something that's fucking with your mind, you have to have ambition to do so, and it's gonna give you some delirium. So those 3 I can clearly defend. Others that I can't defend as stridently, as forcefully, but I still think are potentials. If you talk to your GM and if you're seeking knowledge in the right campaign or the right kind of person. Nightmares, pain, passion, sorrow, and soul. Those all could make sense for a seeker of truths. Secrecy and truth are shit. So I think your options should be knowledge, abomination, ambition, delirium. I like that. That's a good set. Those are useful focus spells, and you have 4 options that are actually options. And I would always choose abomination. Anyway. The others, nightmares, pain, passion, sorrow, soul, I could see all of those dealing with, like, elder gods and greater gods and outer gods. There's so many gods. So next feat. So that level 4 feat, the Seeker of Truths, is shit, but it's not irredeemable shit. It can be redeemed. Just give more options for domains. Next level 4 feat, Strange Script. You have such familiarity with obscure texts that you can compel them to reveal their secrets. Once per day, you can touch a single text, such as a tome, a wall of hieroglyphics, or something similar, and understand its meaning for 1 hour. If the text is in multiple languages, you gain the ability to understand them all for only the purposes of reading the text. If the text is in a code or cipher, you don't automatically understand the text, but you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to checks to decipher it. I love that. If the GM is putting you in a situation that it is extremely unlikely that you would have the knowledge or languages to be able to understand what's around you. Like, I have my group of people in Ancient Osirian. They don't fucking speak the language. It's 5,000 years in the past. Languages change. And none of them took Ancient Osirian to begin with. So if they had this 4th level feat, they would be getting more information about the adventure. They would be getting more insight into the plot, and they would be acting more in accordance with making things come to their advantage. It's actually useful. I do like this. Next feat, level 6, Scholarly Defense. Your knowledge of strange creatures and their bizarre anatomy allows you to anticipate their physical attacks and reduce the damage you take from them. You gain resistance to physical damage from melee attacks made by aberrations and oozes. This resistance is equal to 1/3 your level. 1/3. So you get resistance 2 for a 6th level feat. Only from aberrations and oozes. I'm not saying it's useless, but it's pretty shitty. Like, if you're going to do that, have it be like resistance to mental damage in general, because that's worth it. Or what I would probably do is make the resistance from aberrations and oozes, all damage they do, equal to your level, because then it clearly does something for you in this archetype. You are a specialist with aberrations and oozes. Like, you might even be able to take damage from them, to continue to take attacks from them while trying to talk to them. I think that could work. So 1/3 of your level, only physical damage from melee attacks, from aberrations and oozes, is not worth it. I would just skip this. Or hopefully change it to mental resistance equal to half your level, or follow the same text except the resistance is equal to your level against physical damage from melee attacks from aberrations and oozes. It's really not overpowered, guys. And it's fun. It gives you a niche. Level 8 feat, Able Ritualist. Your readings on rituals make you a skilled participant. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to primary and secondary checks you attempt as part of casting a ritual. I love this, but that's me. I like rituals a little too much. Sort of like my love for witches. No, it's not too much. The +2 matters because the critical success effects of rituals are often extremely impressive. Like, the thing that you were doing is much easier for you to accomplish now. Or, the thing that you're doing worked so well, it's now a permanent friend. The critical successes matter in rituals. And getting a +2 to the primary check is a big deal. I'm not saying that you are a ritualist if you take this archetype. But it is nice that it has an option to do so. So anyway, obviously it's not going to help everybody, because not everybody cares about rituals. But if they do care about rituals, that +2 to ritual checks for an 8th level feat is actually worth it. Next level 8 feat, Lore Finder. You know that fate sometimes conspires to keep dangerous knowledge or items from the eyes of those most able to understand them. You deny fate the ability to conceal truths from you. No truth concealer, you! You can cast Locate as an innate occult spell once per day. When you reach 14th level, the spell is heightened to 5th level. Okay, well, Locate's good, but like a feat for Locate? How about you just take Locate as a spell? Okay, fine. You might not be a spellcaster. Well, all right. Yeah, I guess. Locate is one of those spells that I personally love as a GM, because I'm like, okay, you guys have to go off and find this thing. And they're like, okay, I cast locate. I'm like, even if I didn't plan for it, even if internally I'm like, shit, then they know what path to go down, and I can set any traps, misdirections, monsters, or pitfalls of any kind along the path that I know they have to take, because they use locate and they know where it is, unless it's on the other side of a river. That is a stupid stipulation for that spell. It sucks. It's blocked by water. Anyway, if you're a spellcaster, you won't take this. If you're not a spellcaster, you'll take this, because it's really good. Locate's amazing. It can find lost people by trying to find, like, their belt buckle. Who else is going to have their belt buckle? Could be in a monster's belly, and then you found out what happened to him. So, mission accomplished. Next feat, level 10, Know It All. Your knowledge of abstruse topics is unparalleled. When you succeed at a check to recall knowledge, you gain additional information or context. That's neat. I mean, of course, with the new system, it doesn't quite work that way. I would say that instead of, like, you can ask one question, you can ask two questions. When you critically succeed at a knowledge check at the GM's discretion, you might gain even more additional information or context than normal. In that case, after the remaster, I would say that you can ask 3 questions, or know about 3 things about the creature. Level 10, I guess it's a hard ask for me, because that's really high level, and there's a lot of fun, useful shit. But if you're going the route of you have knowledges or esoteric lore, and you want to be able to know the shit about the monsters that you're fighting, fucking take this feat. You will love it. Your party will love it. Your GM might be annoyed, but that's always good. Level 12 feat, Advanced Seeker of Truths. Okay, you have to take Seeker of Truths for this, which is the Domain Initiate feat thing. Oh, that makes sense. You have unlocked deeper secrets to uncovering and hoarding lore. You gain an advanced domain spell from one domain you selected with Seeker of Truths. Increase the number of focus points in your focus pool by 1. This is great, as long as you don't have to choose from those 3 shitty domains. Special, you can take this feat up to 3 times, each time selecting a different advanced domain spell from a domain you selected with Seeker of Truths, and you should always take Aberration, or Abomination. It's up to you, of course, but it's Abomination. Level 12 feat, Words of Unraveling. You have unlocked abstruse methods to tangle with reality itself. Someone loved their dictionary. You have unlocked abstruse methods to tangle with reality itself, altering the fate of a single individual. Once per day, as an occult innate spell, you can cast Daydreamer's Curse, Outcast Curse, or Savant's Curse. In this case, it's Sage's Curse. Savant's Curse was changed to Sage's Curse. At the GM's discretion, you can substitute or add additional occult curse spells at 4th level or lower to this list. You can choose a different spell from the list each time you use this ability. If you couldn't already cast occult spells, these spells use intelligence as your spellcasting ability, and you become trained in spell attack rolls and spell DCs for occult spells. If you could already cast occult spells, your proficiency in spell attack rolls and spell DCs for occult spells increases to expert. That last section, that last, 10 words is amazing for this feat. Because you just got another +2 to your DCs for spells. Is great. Daydreamer's Curse, Outcast Curse, or Sage's Curse. I love curses in general, but also specifically in Pathfinder 2, because there are a lot of curses and they're fun, and usually, I could say a little bit more than half the time. Maybe half the time, maybe a little bit more. The critical success, or rather critical failure effect, if your victim critically fails, it's permanent. And that's great. I think my favorite of these is Outcast Curse, because the critical failure is creatures that the target encounters have an initial attitude toward them of 2 steps worse. And every time they roll Deception, Diplomacy, Intimidation, or Performance check, they have to roll twice and take the worst result. All of that's permanent. That's fucked up. It's only level 4. That is fucked up. Oh, I love it. Oh, so good. There's some cool curses out there. So anyway, level 12 feat, great. It's mostly good for like recurring monsters or villains or NPCs, but it's still cool. It's fun. It's especially flavorful for storytelling. So, you know, I understand that not all of those are combat based. Not all of these curses are combat based, but you can also ask for other curses to be added. So I think it's still a good feat. Level 14 feat, entities from afar. You can call in aberrations to fight for you or to answer questions. You can cast Summon Entity as an innate occult spell once per day. That's awesome. That's a great spell. Having an extra usage of that is awesome, or having this be one of your only occult spells because you weren't a caster before you went into this archetype is still great, because Summon Entity is really great. If you couldn't already cast occult spells, these spells use intelligence as your spellcasting modifier, and you become trained in spell attack rolls and spell DCs for occult spells. If you could already cast occult spells, your proficiency in spell attack rolls and spell DCs for occult spells increases to expert, just like before. It's just in case you wanted this feat instead of the other one. As soon as the aberration arrives from Summon Entity, instead of giving it any other commands, you can demand that it help you with a single question you pose it. For the creature to effectively answer, you must sustain the spell for 1 minute. So that's all this creature's doing. And you must understand and be understood by the aberration. If you do, the aberration gives you a cryptic clue as provided by the Read Omen spell, except that the clue is even more enigmatic than normal. The creature then immediately returns from whence it came without providing you any other benefit. At 16th level and every 2 levels thereafter, the Summon Entity spell is heightened by 1 level to maximum 8th level when you reach 20th level. So it gives you a cryptic clue as provided by the Read Omen spell, and Read Omen says, you peek into the future, choose a particular goal or activity you plan to engage in within 1 week, or an event you expect might happen within 1 week. You learn a cryptic clue or piece of advice that could help with a chosen event, often in the form of a rhyme or omen. So this is a very good way to annoy your GM. GMs, if you're watching this, I would just have them like roll a basic intelligence check to see if they can figure out the puzzle, or if they have like aberration lore, which they probably should, then have them roll that, or fuck it, just say roll occultism to figure out what the hell the damn thing said. It's just easier. But this feat's really neat because it gives you a monster to summon as your friend and the Read Omen spell in 1 feat. It's slightly disguised, but that's what it is. Neat. It's a good feat. Last feat, level 14. Incredible Recollection, 1 action. You can sift through knowledge locked within your mind at an incredible pace. You instantly use up to 5 recall knowledge actions. If you have any special abilities or free actions that would normally be triggered when you recall knowledge, you can't use them for these actions. So, your esoteric lore being used for this doesn't give you bonuses for damage. Sorry. It's just knowledge. There are a few different ways to get multiple recall knowledge actions, but sometimes it's extremely useful at the beginning of a fight or in the middle of a fight, whenever. If there are multiple enemies around you and you have knowledges, because that's kind of what this researcher class archetype is based on, then you might want to have more than 1 recall knowledge action for 1 check. You could think of it as like giving you haste or giving you a few extra actions, because it will help your allies survive the combat, defeat the enemies, and it will give you more time to do other things like cast spells or attack, or demoralize them or trip, or whatever it is you do. Call in a flock of parrots and eat them. I don't know. So again, not useful for everybody, but I like that it's here. Overall, this is a very useful archetype, if you're allowed to alter the domain spells. Because it's just not... I've already explained it. You know why. Talk to me in the comments if you have an argument as to why you shouldn't do that. I would love to hear it. And I don't mind arguing. An argument is just having a different opinion. It's not fighting. Yeah. Okay. Abomination, Lift Nature's Call. This thing is so great. I love this. I've said it on a different video too. the best effect that you can get from Lift Nature's Call is that the enemy is stupefied 1 for a minute and frightened 2, and they can't reduce the value of their frightened condition below 1 as long as it remains stupefied. That's just so neat. It's just so neat. It's a 5-foot emanation. It's everybody around you for our focus point. That's great. So, as usual, thank you for coming by. If you're a patron, I appreciate your help every month. If you are somebody who wants to join a Discord to talk to like-minded people, the Discord link is below, so is the Patreon link and the link to the website where we have builds. If you want to see a video about this playlist for Howl of the Wild, or if you want to see a video about builds, this is the playlist for builds. And I'll keep trying to come out with builds as fast as I can. Hey, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF2. I love PF2. I love almost everything about this system. Just keep coming out with cool shit. Damn it, that was too early in the video, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Fuck. Motherfucker. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine now.